Throws the ball down the field. The pass
opening. Welcome to Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and thank you for tuning in to the first installment of Terrible Towel Tuesday, alongside with the Terrible Towel, of course. Now let's get it started, guys. I'm gonna let you guys know what this is all about. You know, a lot of you guys may or may not know me here from YouTube, you know, in the gaming world, but for most of you guys in the gaming world would know I am a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. For some of you guys that may be watching this from other avenues, yes, I am a gamer first. You know, I have a YouTube channel, as you can tell, but I'm a diehard Steeler. So I decided to create a new series that I'm going to be bringing to you on every Tuesday as we get closer, to the season. But right now it'll be, here and there until there's more information to bring. And I definitely wanted to kick it off with a draft preview. So it will be called Terrible Towel Tuesdays. And like I said, man, during the season, I'll be doing weekly recaps on the game and also giving my opinion on things that may have transpired, transactions with the Steelers, how certain guys are playing, like preseason, see who looks good, how people are progressing, and things of that nature. So for this show, it's not really going to be that long. I'm just going to do a quick draft preview as well as reflect on the current state of the Steelers. Now, as you can see, wearing the 43, got to pay tribute to Troy Polamalu, which we all know is no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler. He had a great career. He's decided to retire along with Ike Taylor. Now, most of us could say we saw this coming, but hey, it's still hard to let these guys go. When you look back at what Troy Polamalu did for Pittsburgh, the type of Steeler that he was, as well as Ike Taylor. Some people don't really put Ike Taylor up there as one of the tops because, the way he played as far as, production, interceptions and such, doesn't rank as high as a lot of guys that, you would put in the top tier as far as all-time corners. Or, definitely in my opinion, he's an all-time great at Pittsburgh because of the way he played. And it's not just, his tenacity on the field, but it was his leadership. And I think we're definitely going to miss that from both Troy Polamalu and Ike Taylor. Now, of course, neither one of them were at their peak the last several years. Excuse me. I won't say several years, but at least for the last couple years, they were not at their peak. Let's just be honest. Ike Taylor for the last 2 years hasn't been able to really run and cover the deep ball the way he once was able to do. And Troy Polamalu seems to have lost a step. In 2013, he had a great season. He looked like he had pep to his step all over the field. So maybe that's the reason why in 2014 we thought we would get more of that production. But as you can see, his production started to dwindle, as well as, body. He just didn't look the same in motion. He just wasn't as fast or what have you. So like I said, man, this was definitely something that was going to happen, but it still hurts our defense. You're losing two veteran guys. You can't replace that. Along with a Brett Kiesel, who was brought back to the Steelers during the season. You saw what kind of job he did. Outstanding job, helped solidify the run defense and applied pressure, along with James Harrison. But then Kiesel goes down, and you know the end of that story. He pretty much is going to retire or has retired as well. Don't have my facts all the way correct on that, but I think he either has retired or he's going to retire. But he will no longer be back, so that's going to hurt. And then you lose guys like Bryce McCain on defense, and he was a great backup player. Started at times where he was a nice compliment, a nice role player who did help us out. So that's going to hurt as well. So with me saying that, guys, you pretty much know what I'm feeling as far as the draft preview, where I think we should look. And also, I will give you some of the things that I think may happen in this draft and what I would like to see happen. First and foremost, let me give you my dream scenario. Now, as you're going to see here, guys, in a moment, I'll go ahead and put it up now. Here's a picture, of the names of guys who have visited the Pittsburgh Steelers prior to the draft. Now, you guys know the way that works with Pittsburgh. When you come in, most of the time, Pittsburgh does draft from that list of guys, however many it may be. Can't say that they always do that as far as every pick, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb that you're going to see a lot of guys from the visits, if they're still available, they get picked. That's just how it goes. You know, look at last year's draft, Ryan Shazier. He was a guy who visited the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were able to get him. He was there with our pick. That's who they went with. You know, they know how Pittsburgh does it. They don't necessarily draft based on need, you know, as much as based on the talent of the player. If you have a great player there at your spot for the number one pick, a lot of times that's what they're going to do. They're going to grab that player. But let's get to the board, man. And actually, before we get to that, I have a list of names here that I think you might want to take a look at and keep your eye on for the draft. But let me give you my dream scenario here. This is what I would love to see happen. I would love to see the number 22 pick, if he's still there, of course. I would love to see us pick Landon Collins. And let me explain to you why. Landon Collins, of course, we all know who that is, a safety from Alabama. You can't replace a Troy Polamalu, but a guy like Landon Collins has the potential to play like that as far as how he plays from sideline to sideline. He's all over the field. You know, he's bolting to the ball. He's there. He makes tackles. You know, he can break up passes for the most part. He's very physical. He's going to give you the type of presence as a Troy Polamalu. Like I said, you can't replace that. But he could potentially be the type of player that's annoying to defenses in the NFL. And as a rookie, I think he could have more of an impact early than a corner. We all know the secondary needs help. We definitely need to go corner. We definitely need help at safety. You know, you got Will Allen, solid veteran. Then you got Shamarko Thomas, which I think Shamarko is a very good player. I like definitely when we used to play him in the sub package where he's more inside. That's where he excelled, in my opinion. We haven't really seen him, you know, for a long term just play the strong safety position, and that's just his spot. You know, and of course we still have Mike Mitchell, which I think Mike Mitchell will come around in his second season. But, you know, you can never fail with a guy like Landon Collins, a great athlete. He's shown that he's a nice safety, high quality guy that I think could come in and make an impact right away. Then in the second round, I could see us grabbing, you know, a decent corner. Some of the top tier guys may be gone, but I could see us still grabbing a guy, you know, in the second round that is, you know, very quality, high quality player. That would be my dream scenario. But this is what I think is going to happen. Landon Collins will probably be gone. You know, he might not go that early, but he's probably going to, you know, go maybe around the 20th, 21st, you know, 18, 19, one of those picks in there. Somebody like Philly might grab him before us. Don't be surprised if somebody like Cincinnati grabs him right before us. Something like that. So this is what I think will happen. Now, of course, I want to go cornerback first if Landon Collins is not there. Would love to get Trey Waynes. Trey ain't going to be there. Let's just be honest. Would love to get him. Another guy I like is Jalen Collins, you know, from LSU. Nice player. You know, he's pretty much a, you know, sort of a ball hawk type of guy. I think that's what we definitely need in our secondary as far as the cornerback position. But he probably won't be there either. Or, you know, I know he has some question marks in his past, so he might not be the guy, but I like him. But let's look at the board again. Look at a guy who we actually have visited with. I think the number one pick in this year's draft will be Marcus Peters. I think that's going to be our number one pick. Hopefully, that's how it goes if Landon Collins is not there. I would love to see us go ahead and, you know, show what we need right out the gate. Get us a high-quality, top-notch cornerback, and Marcus Peters, you know, out of Washington. I think he's going to be a very good pick for us. You know, he has visited the Steelers again. Remember what I said earlier. So I think he's the type of guy that we might pick. Now, let's take a look at a few other names that could be interesting. Randy Gregory. He visited the Steelers. Eli Harold. He visited the Steelers. Now, both of these guys are linebackers / DNs. Steelers also need help in the outside linebacker. We don't know what Jarvis Jones is going to give us. You know, this is like his fourth year, last tryout, if you will. We know pretty much what we have in Shazier. He's in the middle. He's a rookie. You definitely know what you got in Lawrence Timmons. And then you got Arthur Moats, you know, who played very well last year. But it's safe to say we definitely need some help in that area since, you know, another surprise, Jason Worrells retires. So don't be surprised if the Steelers don't grab somebody like that, even though Gregory kind of has some issues as well off field. But keep a close look at these guys. I want to go corner first, but you know how the Steelers work, man. If they think that they can get the linebacker first or another position first and get a corner later, maybe that'll happen. Because I think Cortez Allen will bounce back this year. He'll play better. I think William Gay is going to give you what he always gives you. He had one of his better seasons last year. So, he's a veteran. You know what he's going to give you. Of course, we could use help there, but don't be surprised if they attack another area first, then come back to corner in the second round. Because let me at least say this. First and second round, one of those rounds need to be a corner. It needs to be a top-notch corner. Not a guy that's okay. We need to grab at least a top-notch corner first, then pick up another corner later on. And that brings me to my next point. A guy like SimFBallCritic. He's a cornerback. He's a little bit on the small side, but he's very fast and he's feisty. He's a very feisty player. Like my man Azure Effect said, he's a dog on the field. That's a guy that we could definitely use inside, maybe in the slot, to bang with some of those, little receivers or smaller receivers. I don't want to call a grown man little, but a guy like a Wes Welker or somebody like that inside. You need a guy maybe close to his size and can match his speed. So a guy like SimFBallCritic could be a guy that we pick up later on. Another guy that we might pick as well from Utah, Eric Rowe. That's another guy. Plays corner, nice build. Don't be surprised if we don't grab him. This is another guy that probably will go before we can pick again. I don't think he's going to stay around too long. He's a pretty, decent corner. I know a lot of the mocks, people have him in like the top 5, top 6 or whatever as far as corners. So he may not stay around that long. So that's another guy that we might be able to grab in the second round if we don't go corner in the first round. So keep in mind this thing, that could happen. Then there's a couple other guys, man, that I have that, notable names that I see here as far as visits. I know I'm missing some, but what jumps out to me is Jalen Strong at wide receiver. I don't think we're going to get him unless we get him early. I think another team would probably get him. Somebody like our rival, the Ravens, probably would grab him. And then you got Devin Gardner, another wide receiver. Like I said, he's another guy that, maybe we'll get later on. And Perriman as well. I forgot to put his name here on my pad, but he's on the board. That's another guy, to keep an eye on. But some of these guys may go soon, man. A lot of teams are definitely going to go with speed at receiver. So I just wanted to point out some of those names because they're on our list here, to keep a close eye on, to see where they fall in the draft and to see if we actually get them. But like I said, man, as I wrap up this episode here, this is my dream scenario. I would love to see us go Landon Collins, solidify the safety or get some help at the safety position, and then get a decent corner in the second round, like, an Eric Rowe. Maybe he's still there. Somebody like that. Or even in that case, a SimFBallCritic. I'll take him in the second round, as a compliment to what we have, put him in the slot. I'll take that. Because like I said, I think Cortez Allen will bounce back this year. William Gay played pretty well last year. I'm not saying he's a superstar, nothing like that. But I'm just saying, if there's another need that you feel like we have better quality at, that we can replace right now, maybe they don't go corner first, and they get somebody like a Randy Gregory if he's still there, or Eli Harold. So, again, my dream scenario would be Landon Collins, second round go corner. But what I think is really going to happen, we're going to get Marcus Peters, first round, and then we'll just have to see what happens round 2 through 7. So that's going to conclude this episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. Thank you guys for tuning in. And for the Steeler Nation and Steeler Faithful, here we go. See you next time. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. And if you want to interact with me live, come on by Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Effect. If you want to give us a call, you can reach us at 914-338-0794. Of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. All right? Until next time, lights out.